Stand tall, young leaders of Africa. Feel the weight and the promise of history resting in your hands. You are the heirs of ancestors who forged civilizations, who raised voices against injustice, and who dreamt of a free, dignified continent. Today, you stand at a crossroads to accept a future shaped by others, or to rise and claim the destiny that is rightfully yours. Let us choose the latter, for in your courage, innovation, and unity lies the rebirth of our nations. Consider the story of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, Africa's youngest head of state at age 37, an emblem of youthful possibility and bold leadership. His ascent to power in September 2022 reverberated across the continent, showing that age is no barrier to effecting profound change. Traoré captivated young Africans with messages of sovereignty and self-reliance, plastered on state media and shared widely online, igniting discussions about who defines Africa's future. In Nigeria, South Africa, Burkina Faso, and beyond, youth saw in him a reflection of their own frustrations and aspirations, the longing to lead, to innovate, and to break free from outdated paradigms. He did not merely inherit a role, he seized it through conviction and action. In his public addresses, he spoke directly to young minds, urging them to free their thoughts from external domination and to cultivate skills that serve their communities. When images of Traoré appeared on Russian state media discussing Pan-Africanism and liberating the minds of the continent's youths, many felt a surge of possibility that a leader their age could speak on the global stage and demand education tailored to African needs. His meeting with international partners included calls for science and technology training for Burkinabe youth, highlighting how education and innovation form pillars of self-determination. Yet his example is not about hero worship, it is about demonstrating that leadership is service. When thousands rallied across West Africa to defend Burkina Faso's sovereignty, it was not because they sought a cult of personality, but because they resonated with a vision that leaders answer first to people, not foreign interests. Youth saw a path to meaningful engagement from grassroots activism to policy discussions, inspired by Traoré's insistence on transparency, accountability, and prioritizing education, healthcare, and security for ordinary citizens. This model teaches that true leadership emerges when young people organize to meet real needs, rather than waiting for permission to act. Your generation inherits daunting challenges: security crises, economic instability, climate threats, and lingering effects of external interference. Under Traoré's leadership, nearly half of Burkina Faso remains contested territory, and conflict-related fatalities have spiked sharply since 2022. Yet even amid adversity, youth mobilization persisted. Protests in support of sovereignty, solidarity actions across borders, and community-led initiatives to aid displaced families. These efforts reveal that when young people commit to collective welfare, they transform despair into agency. Let this lesson guide you: adversity can catalyze creativity, and crisis can birth solutions when youth unite around shared purpose. Innovation is your inheritance and responsibility. Traoré's call for science education tailored to local industries reminds us that Africa's youth must steer technological progress for our contexts, not merely adapt imported models. Whether developing sustainable agriculture technologies, renewable energy solutions, or digital platforms amplifying African voices, your ingenuity can reshape economies and societies. Data shows growing internet penetration across Africa. Leverage this connectivity to collaborate, learn, and build networks that cross borders. As Traoré engaged international partners to bolster local education, follow suit by forging partnerships between universities, startups, NGOs, and governments to create ecosystems where youth-driven innovation thrives. Pan-African solidarity is both an ideal and a pragmatic strategy. When Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger formed the Alliance of Sahel States, it signaled that neighboring countries can pool resources to address security and development challenges. Youth-led movements echoed this solidarity in protests and social media campaigns supporting sovereignty across borders. You can build on this by initiating cross-national projects, virtual hackathons solving shared problems, exchange programs for young professionals, regional youth forums for policy dialogues. In unity, you amplify bargaining power, share best practices, and create a network resilient to external disruptions, a living embodiment of Traoré's Pan-African vision. Leadership demands more than ambition, it demands character. Captain Traoré invoked the legacy of Thomas Sankara, naming streets after him and reviving revolutionary slogans, yet his example also cautions that rhetoric must match results. Youth watching his tenure note both achievements and shortcomings. Initiatives boosting farming or promising infrastructure must be implemented with integrity, avoiding corruption that erodes trust. When you step into leadership roles, be it community projects, startups, or political engagement, commit to transparency. Build systems where resources are tracked, voices are heard, and accountability is the norm. This creates credibility, inspires participation, and ensures that progress benefits many, not a few. Your voice matters. Social media can be a double-edged sword, a platform for mobilization or a vector for misinformation. Observe how Traoré's image has been amplified, sometimes by genuine supporters, other times by external actors seeking influence. Learn digital literacy, verify sources, craft messages that unite rather than divide, and use online tools to coordinate real-world action. When you share insights about sovereignty, youth empowerment, or Pan-African initiatives, ground them in facts and constructive proposals. Encourage peers to move beyond likes and shares, translate online solidarity into tangible initiatives, volunteering, entrepreneurship, policy advocacy. Informed, deliberate use of digital platforms magnifies your impact and shields movements from co-option. Education must awaken critical thinking. Traoré emphasized science and local production, but education also entails teaching history honestly, celebrating African achievements, and critically examining past mistakes. When you learn the full story of our continent, its philosophical, scientific, and artistic contributions, you gain confidence to innovate. When you question systems inherited from colonial eras, you find ways to transform them or build alternatives. Advocate for curricula that include African thought leaders, local case studies in economics and governance, and practical skill training. Engage educators and policymakers with concrete proposals, community-led workshops, mentorship programs, and partnerships with international institutions that respect African agency. Entrepreneurship is a vehicle for empowerment. In many communities, youth unemployment fuels frustration. Yet with creativity and collaboration, you can identify local needs, from sustainable food production to digital services, and craft businesses addressing them. Seek mentorship from experienced entrepreneurs, leverage microfinance or crowdfunding platforms, and prioritize ventures that uplift communities. When Traoré's government voiced support for local industries, it signaled the importance of domestic economic ecosystems. Emulate this by forging cooperatives, tech hubs, and social enterprises that not only generate income, but also build capacity and resilience. Success in one locale can inspire replication elsewhere, igniting a network of youth-led economic growth across Africa. Civic engagement anchors lasting change. Whether through community councils, youth parliaments, or policy forums, participate in shaping decisions that affect your lives. Even when formal political channels seem closed, creative engagement, such as citizen journalism, civic tech initiatives, or community organizing, can influence outcomes. Remember that Traoré emerged from a military background, yet his rise underscores that change can stem from unconventional paths when driven by public will. If existing institutions fail to serve people, advocate for reform. If obstacles persist, build parallel structures. Community cooperatives, digital platforms for public feedback, or local development committees, demonstrating alternative models of governance rooted in service and accountability. Resilience arises from solidarity. Traoré's tenure faces security setbacks, yet widespread support among youth shows that solidarity sustains movements through hardship. Nurture networks of mutual aid, support peers facing challenges, share resources, and stand together when rights are threatened. When violence forced displacement in Burkina Faso, youth-led relief efforts provided immediate aid and hope. In South Africa, youth movements have similarly organized around education, employment, and social justice. Connect these local struggles through dialogue and joint projects, recognizing that although contexts differ, the spirit of collective resilience unites you. Solidarity across regions reinforces each cause and weaves a stronger continental fabric. Culture and storytelling fuel identity and motivation. Celebrate music, art, literature, and traditions that reflect your heritage. Use these mediums to convey messages of empowerment, songs that uplift, films that tell true stories of resilience, podcasts interviewing youth changemakers. Traoré's own narrative intertwines with Burkina Faso's revolutionary legacy. Similarly, your creative expressions can link personal journeys with collective aspirations. When you craft a video or a poem about youth rising, embed local languages, symbols, and histories. Authenticity resonates deeply, building pride and inspiring action more powerfully than imported narratives. As you rise, embrace both courage and humility. Bold ideas require bravery to implement, but humility keeps you grounded, open to learning from others and adapting when needed. Seek mentors across generations, elders with wisdom, peers with fresh perspectives, experts who can guide technical endeavors. When setbacks occur, as they inevitably will, approach them as lessons. Revisit strategies, solicit feedback, and persevere with renewed insight. This balance of boldness and reflective growth defines enduring leadership. Now is the moment to declare your commitment to yourself, your community, and your continent. Let your words be matched by deeds. Start a project that addresses a local issue, organize a youth forum on governance, launch an innovation challenge solving environmental or social problems, mentor someone younger, advocate for educational reforms, create digital content that informs and unites. Each small action contributes to a larger movement. When thousands of youth take initiative in their own spheres, together you shift the trajectory of nations. Inspire Nation stands with you. Let this channel be a platform for sharing your stories, lessons learned, and visions for Africa's future. Use it to showcase youth-led projects, interview emerging leaders, and broadcast dialogues on sovereignty, innovation, and unity. Through consistent content, speeches, discussions, documentaries, you amplify voices that might otherwise go unheard, nurturing a culture where youth see themselves as architects of change. Remember, history favors those who dare. The journey ahead will test your resolve, but within you lies the creativity, resilience, and solidarity to overcome. Let the example of Ibrahim Traoré's rise remind you that youthful conviction can reshape destiny. Yet, forge your own path, grounded in service, integrity, and collective upliftment. Age is not a limitation, but a strength. You bring fresh vision and dynamic energy to challenges that older generations may avoid. Rise now, youth of Africa and beyond. Empower yourselves with knowledge, unite across borders with purpose, innovate for your people's welfare, and lead with courage and humility. In doing so, you honor ancestors and secure a legacy for those yet to come. This is your era. Embrace it with unwavering determination. Together, we will build societies where every young person has the opportunity to lead, to create, and to thrive. Let Inspire Nation echo your voices and fuel the momentum of youth rising, so that Africa's next generation truly shapes the future it deserves.